Hi, I'm Robin Hayes, your pastor, hopefully, and this morning or this afternoon, I'm going to share with you something I've been wrestling with. I've been wrestling with the parable of the Good Samaritan actually for the last few days. In this parable, which can be found in Luke chapter 10, verses 25 through 37, one man is attacked by robbers and left by the side of the road. Two very religious folk see him, and instead of helping him, they hurry on by. The third traveler along the road is not someone who would be considered in good religious standing, but he helps almost sacrificially and becomes the hero of the story. Now, this parable Jesus told to explain who our neighbor is, who we should take care of. Here's the story in the Revised New American Bible. There was a scholar of the law who stood up to test Jesus and said, "Teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life?" Jesus said to him, "What is written in the law?" He replied, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your being, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." He replied to him, "You have answered correctly. Do this, and you will live." But because he wished to justify himself, he said to Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" Jesus replied, "A man fell victim to robbers as he went down from Jerusalem to Jericho. They stripped him and beat him and went off, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down that road, but when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. Likewise, a Levite came to the place, and when he saw him, he passed by on the opposite side. But a Samaritan traveler who came upon him was moved with compassion at the sight. He approached the victim, poured oil and wine over his wounds, and bandaged them. Then he lifted him up on his own animal, took him to an inn, and cared for him. The next day he took out 2 silver coins and gave them to the innkeeper with the instruction, "Take care of him. If you spend more than I have given you, I shall repay you on my way back." Which of these 3, in your opinion, was the neighbor to the robber's victim? The lawyer answered, "The one who treated him with mercy." Jesus said to him, "Go and do likewise." Now, more explanation of context. The 2 religious people had good reasons to pass on by. If the man had been dead or had died while in their care, they would have needed to self-quarantine for a week or so. They would not have been able to do their jobs. It would have been a hardship not only on them, but also on their families and on their colleagues and on everyone who was counting on them. And it may have been a trap. It was not unknown for robbers to bait a trap with a person who seemed to need help and then attack anyone who stopped to provide care. 2 religious people would have been putting themselves in danger of being beaten and robbed and even dying if they stopped to help. Maybe you can see where I'm going with this. Are we being like the 2 religious folk when we stop offering worship in the church building? Is the fear of possibly contracting the coronavirus and needing to quarantine ourselves for 14 days causing us to step away from our Christian duty? Is our fear of getting sick and maybe dying stifling our discipleship? If this parable were being told today, would the religious folk be praised and the Samaritan vilified for being selfish and possibly passing the virus on to his family and the innkeeper and that family and anyone else staying at the inn and their families and communities? I told you I was wrestling with this parable. Now let's turn everything upside down like Jesus likes to do and look at the motivation of the characters. The priest and the Levite, the religious folks, were motivated out of fear. They were afraid of what might happen. The Samaritan, on the other hand, was motivated out of compassion, out of love. And love casts out fear. To put this into practice today, we need to ask, what is motivating us? Fear or love? For me, physical distancing is the loving thing. I do not want to give this virus to anyone if I am infected. For me, learning how to be church digitally with video is fearful, but love casts out fear. And this is my test video devotional. Going forward, let love be your guide. Yes, there is a lot to fear in the world, but there always is. There always has been, and unfortunately, there always will be. So let your love cast out your fear and learn to lean into God and try to do the loving thing. Thank you for listening. Go in peace.